about me, I'm British. I've been in Denmark for 32 years, practicing as a psychotherapist for the last 13 years. This issue about SAD, or what we call winter blues, is something I personally have not been diagnosed with, but I've had it myself. The best thing is to get a diagnosis from a doctor, but quite honestly, you can get the idea yourself if you have it. But the SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, is a form of depression, and it's a form of depression that the name says it's seasonal, and that means that usually it happens when the summer days start getting longer, as they are at the moment. And actually, this is a perfect day to talk about SAD, as we'll call it, seasonal affective disorder, because of it's grey outside and it's gloomy, and how do we cope with it? But first of all, SAD is something that is usually only affected people in the northern and southern latitudes. There's been several researches done about it, and people who live on the equator, very few people suffer from this. But when you get into the northern latitudes, then 5 to 10% of a population can suffer from this disorder. It can start in teenage, early adulthood, and also it can come on when I think back to mine, when I realized I was suffering from SAD, I realized it after several years of being low come autumn, even though I had a lot of good things going off for me and a lot of busy, but I just had the several symptoms, which I'll come into in a minute. And then I started looking into what SAD is. And SAD was first talked about in 1984, I think, yes, by somebody called Norman Rosenfeld. He was the first person who wrote about it. But again, it's usually women, which actually depression usually occurs mostly in women, but it's men. And it's only diagnosed when you've had the symptoms sort of two consecutive years. And if it's not treated, it can lead to very serious depression, and also sometimes suicidal thoughts can be. So it's important that you see a doctor if you have some of the very strong symptoms. And what are the symptoms? The symptoms are anxiety, hopelessness, feeling sad and unhappy, but loss of energy and the ability to concentrate, the need for more sleep, and this is a little different to a lot of the depression, because when you have another kind of depression, you sleep less. So winter depression is our desire to sleep more. We're very sluggish in our movements. We don't want to go out. We don't want to. We withdraw socially quite often. Often there's an increased appetite, and especially for sugar and starch. And that is quite often why we put weight on if we have SAD. And there also can be a strong desire to turn to alcohol for comfort and relaxation. It's very important, again, that all these are taken seriously, because, again, they can lead to different things. The criteria for diagnosis is that you've experienced one or many of the symptoms I've just mentioned for two consecutive years during the same season each year. And the periods of depression are followed by periods of without depression. But there sometimes can be other explanations why. And the causes for SAD is not totally clear, but there's a lot of, since 1984, there's been a lot of discussion of what causes it. And But it varies in many people how much it affects us or not. And it's like with many health conditions, it's the things that can affect us is genetics, age, and the body's natural chemical makeup. All this has a thing to play. But one thing that has been found that plays a big role is that our biological clock goes out of sync. And as usually our brains secrete a chemical called melatonin, and that increases when it becomes darker. So as we get less sunlight through our eyes, the light hits the sensitive parts of our eyes, which is called the retina, and they send signals to the limbic part of our brain, or the hippocampus, and that sends signals for our bodies to create less or more melatonin. The more light we have, the less melatonin we have in our bodies. And then usually by late afternoon, or when the light is diminishing, our bodies start increasing the production of melatonin. So by the time we sleep, we have a high level of melatonin in our bodies. But this biological clock, also called the circadian rhythm in our bodies. So usually on a morning when the light is beginning to come in through our windows or through our curtains, then also our bodies naturally begin to reduce the amount of melatonin in our bodies, and then our body temperatures rise and our body gets into a wake up form of thing. So melatonin helps us with our light-dark cycle and our sleep-wake cycle. And in a normal situation, during summer maybe, then our clock is in sync with the light and the sun. But because partly also we changed the sunlight ourselves, because Ravi has just said, we put the clocks back, and so it plays a little bit havoc with some of us with this melatonin level. So during shorter days and longer nights, the increase of melatonin in our blood is increased. And so therefore when we wake up, we have more in it, and therefore we feel sluggish, we feel, and then we can develop a lot of the symptoms that I've just managed. And SAD can vary from very small symptoms to many symptoms of those that I've said. So it's variable. So it's a lot of people are saying it's the chemical balance of melatonin that can be one of the reasons for SAD. Another reason is the serotonin level. I think all of you have probably heard of the brain chemical serotonin that affects our mood. Serotonin affects our mood, our emotions, our sleep. And it is a natural part of us. It's what we call a neurotransmitter. That it says it's a chemical that helps messages go from one nerve cell to another. And light improves the level of serotonin in our bodies. Again, the light goes through our eyes to our retina, and the serotonin levels increase. But again, when the winter comes, there's not as much light going in through our eyes, and the serotonin levels in some of us can really drop. And serotonin is one of those chemicals that help us feel good, feel calm and control and happy, with dopamine, which is also another. So when the serotonin levels are low, then again we're feeling sad and grey and unhappy. We don't see the positive things in life. And what has been found is quite often that carbohydrate-rich meals have shown that they increase the level of serotonin in our bloodstream. And this can cause that quite often people with SAD have cravings for food. But generally on winter, a lot of people have more cravings for food. There are some people that are saying that because before natural light, light bulbs and things, that our bodies are more chemically tuned in to the times we lived in caves. So our bodies haven't always followed. And it's a form of telling us to go into hibernation. And again, our body balance, our chemical balance changes and is affected by so many things, especially in modern life. But serotonin is something that can't be taken as a supplement. But eating starchy, fatty foods increases the level of serotonin in our bodies. But the side effect of that is you put on weight, which isn't very good for other reasons. Other reasons for causing is probably genetic or family factors, history. If a family has got a history of depression, that means that it's inheritable. You are more likely to be able to suffer from depression or be affected by the less light in the winter in the winter months, as the days gets longer. The days get shorter and the nights get longer. Yeah. A lot of it could be that it's probably in your personality. You may be a little bit anxious anyway, and therefore more susceptible to the light changing. There is the psychological factors that Ravi mentioned earlier. I can't remember what you quoted about Mary in the heart. It also affects us. And it's been proven time and time again. The way we think, the way we are, negativity, negative thoughts, negative behavior really do affect our brain chemicals. And so that is also can be, if you're going through a bad time, life is affecting you negatively, that also affects our brain chemical and the level of serotonin in our bodies. And there are also the social factors. It also has been proved that the level of serotonin and dopamine improves when you have close relationships, when you have loving, caring friends or family around you. So that also has an aspect of what can cause SAD, because everything affects the chemicals in our brain. And what is the treatment for SAD? Well, the main one is light therapy. Apparently there was no plug to plug it, to put it in. But when I found that I was having problems with what I called winter blues, when I realized I was having SAD, it was 2 or 3 years and I was beginning to go down, and I couldn't find any reason for why, because everything was going fine for me. And so I read about it and bought the lamp here, and if we can turn it on, yeah. And yeah, okay. But and tests and research has found that this is one of the most effective treatments for SAD. And basically, it's a lamp that is like artificial sunlight. A room like this, or an office, or at home, you're about getting 200 to 500 lux, and lux is what illumination is measured in. So on a normal sunny bright day, the light intensity is 100,000 lux. So sitting by this, and if you buy a lamp, you need to, if you need a lamp, then you need one that is at least 10,000 lux. And if you go out and buy one that is accredited for doing its job, because there are many lamps out there. Actually, this I bought in Netto for very cheap price many years ago. But you can, they are expensive. But if it works, it will work within 2 to 3 days. People will notice the difference within 2 to 3 days. And it has been found that it helps over 50% of the people who use it. And how you use it is what I do is I just put it on my dining table while I'm eating breakfast and just have it there shining on me with open eyes. The idea is to have open eyes, but not look at it directly, but have it shining on you for at least 20 to 30 minutes. It depends on the strength of the lamp, how the different lamps advise you how much to take it. But this has had a very, very positive effect on me. And during the winter, when the days start becoming shorter, then I take my lamp out the 1st of October, and begin to eat breakfast. Because the idea of using the lamp early morning is because it's artificial sunlight, and what it happens is it gets the melatonin in your blood to be reduced. So it's like ordinary sunlight. So it has an effect on the chemical melatonin and also it has effect on the serotonin, because as melatonin goes down, then it also affects the serotonin levels to come up. And there are very few side effects with it. What you have to be careful of is if you are you're sensitive to light, then don't use it. Talk to a doctor first. Or if you have if you're taking antidepressants or medicine for epilepsy, then again it's a good idea to talk with your doctor. And they are quite expensive many places, so it might be a good idea to buy one used. Or there are many places in Denmark in the public baths that have these now in the changing rooms. Where I live in Værløse, they have one there, so you can go and try it, see if it works before investing, because I think they cost between 1,500 to 2,500 kroner, so it's a big investment if it doesn't work. But on the other hand, you could always sell it again. Another form of treatment is medication, and a lot of doctors give SSRI inhibitors, which means that it's the usual depression pills that you can get. And what these do is they stop the serotonin being reabsorbed into our bodies once it's sent a message through our nerves. And so it stops the serotonin being absorbed back into our bodies, so it raises the levels. The problem with this is that you need to take it in good time, well before the symptoms start coming, and it takes a while for these pills to work. And you can't just stop when spring comes, you have to be weaned off them, because it can affect your brain chemicals quite strongly. Another very positive, there's been a lot of research into these different treatments. Light therapy has been the one, and medication, and the other one they really recommend is psychotherapy. And it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. Basically, it's talking about how you see the world, how you think, your self-talk. And if it's negative, it's about turning it around, so you reframe the way you look at the world. You reframe the way you look at winter. We was out at friends last night, and somebody was saying, "Oh, it's winter, long days, nothing to look forward to," and this is quite often the general view of winter. But if you can turn it around and say, "Wow, no, it's winter. I've got time to read that book I didn't have time to read in the summer. I can just wrap up and be inside and do all the things that I didn't manage to do." Or just look at the beauty of the seasons, Here, all the beauty, the colour of autumn. As you go around, you can also, in the winter, look at the patterns of the trees, the snow, and the beautiful, there's a lot of beauty out there, also in autumn and winter. So it's about changing our thought pattern, changing our frame of mind. But if you are coming from a culture or a family culture, or where you have a negative view of everything, where you have a negative self-talk, then again, this affects our brain serotonin levels. We have too much cortisol in our things. So by turning and being positive, And this is one of the other things that have really helped me. I grew up in a very negative atmosphere. Well, I grew up in the north of England. It was very sort of raw and rough, and even though I had loving parents, there was a lot of negativity. That's the way they talk to each other. You didn't turn around and say to somebody, "Oh, you're looking nice today." You turn around and said, "You don't look too bad." So again, there was no positivity. And on my school reports, they said, "You can do better." What does that tell me? I'm not good enough, right? So my self-view also was, I'm not good enough because all the teachers tell me so. My mother told me so. She never praised what I did. She always told me what I could do better. She meant it in a nice way, but it had that effect that I had a negative view of myself. And so therefore, what I did many years ago, also because when I trained to be a psychotherapist, all this became, but over the years, as I changed my view of the world to a more positive view, instead of seeing the cup half empty, I began seeing it half full. And that is how psychotherapy can help your view of the world and help you look at the positive things of yourself, of the world around you, and the people around you. But at the same time, there is negativity in our lives. But it's about having a balance. It's not about having this grey cloud over you that you can't see the positive things. And quite a lot of people with SAD, and it was the same with me, I couldn't see the good things in my life. So it's about changing, not taking away the negative things, because they're very, very important. And actually, if you suppress and ignore the negative things, they'll come and hit you one day, eventually. So it's about having a balance between the positive and the negative, but being able to have a stronger positive view than the negative. And that's how psychotherapy can help. There are a lot of research has shown that a combination of light therapy and psychotherapy, cognitive behavior therapy, is the best way to treat winter depression. But there is a lot of other things that can be done without having to do this. There are natural supplements that you can take. St. John's wort or pericon is a natural herb and product, and you can buy it in many of the natural drug places, and it's well known for being a mild, for helping mild depression. It's known for many things, and if you want to go down that road, there's something called Velzina that you can buy in Matas that is also very positive. And I took that. I used my lamp and I took the Velzina, as well as changing my view of myself. But again, if you're taking medication, it's very important that you check with a doctor before taking any of this. Research has also found that if you take melatonin in the afternoon, then it increases. So again, then it helps your blood levels go back in sync with your biological levels. There are some people that, and then I found something else on the net, and a lot of people gave positive reactions and positive reviews about it. It's something called S-adenostimulationin, other words called as SAME, S-A-M with a little E. And a lot of people have started using this. It's something that I've not heard so much about, but the reviews on the internet are very positive that it helps it's a natural form that we have in our bodies, and when it's taken, then it gives works a little bit like Pericon. It works as an antidepressant by increasing the levels of serotonin in our bodies. So again, that's something maybe to look at. But the other things you can do is they suggest that you take omega-3 fatty acids, because that has also been proved that it helps with depression. But you also can make a few lifestyle changes if you haven't got too many symptoms, but milder symptoms. Then you can make your home much brighter and sunnier. Remove blinds, trim branches over windows. You can sit closer to the window in your office or at home. Again, going outside for longer walks, especially maybe at lunchtime, will help you, because it doesn't matter whether it's bright sunlight. Even when it's cloudy, then you're getting the light in your eyes. And it's especially good if you go for a walk outside early morning, after 1 to 2 hours after you get up, because again, it reduces the amount of melatonin in your blood, because the light is affecting the signals that is giving to your body. Regular exercise is always good. And it's been found more and more and more that more people exercise, the more it increases the chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin levels in our brains, and therefore it's good for our bodies, it's good for us, we feel better about ourselves, and therefore it improves our mood. Again, eating regular diet is also the alpha omega of helping yourself. Colour has been a good thing. If you have colour around you, then it also affects us positively, which has been shown. And last winter, everybody complained about last winter, how long the snow was and everything. But actually, it has been recorded that fewer people were feeling depressed or low last winter, because the light is reflected by the snow. Then we're getting more light in through our eyes and through our skin. And so vitamin D is also a positive part of being outside. The sun affects that as well. So again, if it's snowing, just put on your warm clothes and go outside, because it'll give you a good doses of natural light. The other things that you can that are very positive and helpful is meditation, but you have that through your prayer. So that's a very positive thing. Yoga. If you're stressed, then it's a good idea to learn stress management. What can I do to help me in this stressful situation? And there are various things you can do. You can breathe. Take deep, regular breaths when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling hazard. The other thing is to take breaks and breathe. Regular sleep. It's important to have at least 8 hours a night. And the best time to go to sleep, to be able to go to bed, is 10 o'clock. And so we fall asleep more naturally if we go to bed around 10:30. And all these things help stress, but there's a lot of other things that's possible. Again, it's good. I hear a lot of people have been on holiday or going on holiday at this time of year, again, because it gets the body back into feeling good. The other things you can do is play more, do fun things, laugh more, sing, dance, whatever it is. Do things you enjoy doing. Make sure you compliment yourself and the people around you, because again, this makes us feel good, which affects the brain chemicals, which increases dopamine and serotonin, and it makes us all feel good when we. I noticed the way you say good hello to each other in the church it's good. It's good for the brain. So keep on doing it, And another thing is just treat yourself from time to time, not necessarily with money, but treat yourself to reading a book or going for a walk or a bunch of flowers or whatever it is, you need to treat yourself to something really nice. And that's all I have to say at the information. I don't know if any of you have any questions.
That was not bad.
Okay, thank you. Good, I'm pleased.
Trying to be North English here.
Yeah.
No, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Bit of English accent, eh? Yeah.
No, No, but thanks, Elaine. That was
You're welcome.
first and foremost incredibly practical, and I'm pretty sure that we have learned a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot more we can learn. Thank God it's being recorded, because then you can go back and watch it and try to follow it little by little with all the thoughts. There's some water in case you need some
thank
water.
you. Yeah.
And I'm sure that maybe we would like to give some time for questions and answers. Maybe there's some practical questions that you have concerning what you've heard and how you can reduce the stress in this period. And if you have a question, maybe you could come forward and ask, and we will try to see if Elaine can address your question. Please come forward. Please come. Keep coming forward. Come. Come on.
Yes, when you said meditation, do you mean just more focusing on something?
Yes. So meditation is many things. Breathing, for example, I meditate each day, and if you just in a stress situation or when you're sad or whatever, just focusing and taking 10 deep breaths really makes a difference. But it's about breathing from the stomach, or just focus, but also just looking at a light, a candle light for a minute or 2 minutes. Meditation is very individual. Yes, it's about putting your thought. But a lot of people say, I can't meditate because my thoughts keep invading me. But that's it. But what happens is it's you keep on trying, and when you're sort of trying to focus on your breathing and thoughts start invading, then you just stay there and say, thought. You don't let it in and you don't follow it. And if you find that you're following your thought, you come back to your breathing or looking at your candle or whatever it is. And the next time, the next thought comes and you find you're following it, you go back and you say, thought. So every time a thought comes in, you don't do anything with it, you observe it and let it go, like a cloud in the sky. Because nobody, even the people who meditate for years, they all have the thoughts invading. It's not the thoughts, it's what you do with them, and you just let them pass by. So eventually, the more you try to meditate, the more you will have less thoughts. You'll be able to keep the thoughts away. Okay?
Answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I must say this is very informative. I wanted to know, in Africa, for example, or let me say tropical countries, where I come from, we have plenty of sunlight.
Yes.
We do have our winter, but not this time.
Like
so current researches of winter blue, what is the percent occurrence of this in Africa?
If it's on the equator, about 1%. I've just read about some research that was going on in the States, and they said in around the equator it was 1%, but once they got up to Alaska, it was 10%. Yeah.
It's actually something I would like to add on to maybe as a comment. For those of you who come from Africa, Asia, like I do, if you carry a darker tone in your skin, just that you should be aware, you need a lot more vitamin D up here in the north.
Yes.
And therefore, consume regularly, if you can, vitamin D pills. I do that all the time.
Especially in winter. Yeah. But again, light helps you produce vitamin D. So the lamp is also used for jet lag and also different. It's been proved for different forms of depression as well. So again, it's a non-invasive form of
interesting. Any more questions? Yeah.
It is not like a question, it's more like an information. I had a friend that was diagnosed with winter depression, and she did get discount from the lamp. So if you are diagnosed with winter depression by your doctor, then you can get some discount from the lamp.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information.
Excellent. So before you buy the lamp, go to your doctor and get a diagnosis that you're depressed. And then you get special price.
Yeah.
Otherwise, ask Edith to help you to buy. You still get a special price.
I was wondering, all the symptoms for you for stress, is symptoms for general stress. So in the winter, you might have a stress because of maybe a bad relationship or your work's going well.
Yeah.
How would you know if it's in the winter? How would you know if you have winter depression or something else?
Again, you don't, because the symptoms can be, you're more aware if you have winter depression if you have been fine through the summer. But it can be a combination of both. And if the symptoms reoccur every October when the winter is, because you can be depressed, you can be feeling low of many things. So, but winter depression is that more so that you're feeling fine during the summer, and then come winter, you're beginning to have a lot of the symptoms for no real reason. So you can't always distinguish the one from the other. You have to be aware of your patterns. And there's also something called a seasonal disorder for spring and summer, and where people become hyperactive and they become the opposite of the symptoms for winter depression.
Actually, talking about summer, my wife and I had tried an experiment actually from last summer. We had a lot of light coming into our room where we were sleeping in the bedroom, and we realized that our sleep wasn't very good, especially in the summer, and so that affected our day. So what we did was we invested in some very good blinds that were actually blocking out the sunlight during the night, especially when you have to sleep. In the summer we have got long sunlights, and that had actually created wonders, absolute wonders. And also we have actually invested in a very good bed. Sometimes you don't realize you spend one-third of your life on your bed.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to save money on. Don't ever save money on your bed. Have a good bed, because one-third of your life is spent on it, and rotate your bed, your mattress, every 6 months, because if you keep it on one section, it naturally will sink because it carries weight on one section. Rotate it every 6 months, which we do. So just some small little tips to help you with the winter thing. I was wondering, Elaine, could you mention a little bit about diet? For example, if we come from Asia, we only eat rice and curry.
Okay,
we come from China, we only eat noodles.
Yes.
And then does potato help, and Felskestein?
No, the best thing that helps, and it's one thing I've actually forgot to mention, so it's good you said it, green vegetables. Broccoli, dark cabbage, all the spinach, all these include all the things that are very good for the. But generally a balanced diet, because the desire to eat starchy foods is actually, it's part of our instinct, because I won't go into the big chemical details, but it is found that when you eat a lot of sweet starchy foods, then it does increase the serotonin levels. So there's a reason why we go for the sweet starchy foods, especially in winter.
How about sausages? Will sausages help?
I don't know. Sorry. But basically a good balanced diet. Lots of fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables.
But dark green vegetables especially give a lot of the vitamins necessary. Also, if a good vitamin pill will also be can help.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you don't have your green vegetables.
The only green vegetable I have is chili.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. But you don't probably eat enough of it.
Some more questions from anyone before we... Yes. Mr. Bowler, an English question.
A comment and a question. Yeah. Just about the bed. Remember, most people die in bed. So. Just a question. And then a question, you mentioned about colour, but I heard the colour green is very important. Is that true? The colour green, to look at, have green around you, like go into a green garden. Is that really true?
Colour, but anything with colour, but it can be not necessarily green if it's a colour that makes you happy. We're all affected by different colours. Mine personally is yellow. I have a guest toilet where it's so yellow you think you're going into sunshine. But that was from my coloured days. But again, colour can affect us in a very positive way if it's the colour that affects you. But green is also good because, again, it reminds you of summer. Green trees, garden, grass. So it's not a bad thing to surround yourself by. But again, it's about surrounding yourself with things that make you feel good. That improves your mood and affect you in the good ways. Okay.
Amazing. One last question, perhaps, from anyone. Yes, please.
Can I just say from here?
Yes.
You may.
Temperaments.
Yeah.
Doesn't that influence also?
Yeah.
Melancholic or people who are.
Yes, it can do. And some of us are more sensitive to things than others. Another thing I do a lot of talks about is something called highly sensitive personality. And these people are more sensitive to many different things. So that can be part of it. But we've all got our own temperaments and are affected by different things. You know, you have people with positive characters, people with maybe more negative, people that see half full, half, yes, our temperaments can really affect us and how the way we are affected by everything else. But again, it depends to what degree. And there are mild forms of winter depression, which some of the things I mentioned can help you. But if it's really, really recurring every year, as it did with me, then it's better to use the lamp and whatever you want to do. I never did go to the doctor, I must admit. I diagnosed myself. But if you're taking other medications, it's very important maybe to talk to a doctor. And another reason to go to your doctor, because you can get some form of help to buy the lamp. So, but there are a lot of different lamps out there, and so this kind of lamp has been acknowledged for helping. But recently they've turned out some LED lamps, and they haven't, what I've read about them, they can't say 100% that they help. So again, be careful, shop around, find out what is the right lamp for you. But yeah.
And just to mention a little bit about the lamp, one time I was flying on Finnish Airlines, and they had in the in-flight magazine a special light, because Finland, is pretty much up in the north. But it wasn't in this way. It was actually in a way where you wear it. You wear them on as like goggles,
yes.
And then it's battery operated. You turn them on, and it's got kind of lights inside.
Yeah.
And there was some article written about it. I thought it was very interesting because it's up in the north.
Yes.
So there are different methods and.
But there are small ones now you can carry around with you, put in your bag, and just where you're sitting at work, you just having the light put on you. So again, it's individual, which you prefer and what suits.
Yeah.
But highly recommendable. Even they use it for depression, and also they're using it for as I said, for jet lag. It's about getting the body clock back into its own rhythm, natural rhythm.
Excellent. Otherwise, we really, really appreciate very much such a wonderful, insightful, practical, down-to-earth approach to how to deal with SAD. And as you heard earlier on, if you have SAD, you can also drink or eat. Same, the pills was called Same.
It's called SAM, big capital letters, and then a little E.
Yeah.
So
Same is the cure to SAD.
And that is the artificial form of something we have in every cell in our body, which helps us have energy and create the correct level of brain chemicals. It's got very positive reviews.
And we hope one of these days in the future we can have you back, because I think talking about the highly sensitive persons, that could be a very interesting thing for us to learn as well in terms of personality. And we hope that if we send you an invitation, of course Lillian will do it in time, that you will find some break in your schedule to
I would love
come.
to.
Yeah, thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Could we please give Elaine a big hand?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a journey that we take together. It's soul food from the heart. In God, we're united in our differences. It's a place of getting in touch with God, others, and your destiny. Come and visit ICC, the International Christian Community, a church where great things come together.